closer.
Yeah, just let us know where it works for you guys. And when everybody's ready, give us a thumbs up. And
Can you hold your paper up? I think we do because we need to get the sound. Thank you.
yep. Anybody else?
Thank you.
If you want to say it's the Issaquah Police.
Good evening.
First say and spell both of your names for us.
Yeah, this is. Go ahead.
My name is Bob Porter. I'm a commander from the Issaquah Police Department.
And I'm Chase Van Cleve, trooper with the Washington State Patrol. Last name is VANCLEAVE. Commander Porter is going to go ahead and start our press conference tonight with just a quick synopsis of what he has in Issaquah. You're here, what happens tonight. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. To start this off, I have some notes. My name is Commander Bob Porter from the Issaquah Police Department. We're here to give a briefing on this incident that occurred. The incident address is the 5200 block of Issaquah Place, northwest in Issaquah. It started last night at approximately 7:34 p.m. The Issaquah Police Department responded to a suspicious person report that was called in by the homeowner. It was found to be the homeowner's brother. He forced the homeowner inside. It was his sister. He was armed with a handgun, and he barricaded the occupants of the residence inside. The occupants of the residence included the homeowner's children, who were 5 and 8 years old, and her boyfriend. So we were faced with a barricaded hostage situation. Our department requested mutual aid from the following agencies from this incident. They include the King County Sheriff's Office, the Seattle Police Department, Valley SWAT, the Bellevue Police Department, and Eastside Fire and Rescue. Through our partnership, we've asked the King County Fire investigators and the Washington State Patrol to investigate this incident for us. And I want to thank the listed agencies for their cooperation. At this point, for more information, I'm turning it over to Trooper Chase Van Cleve for questioning. Thank you.
So, Washington State Patrol is taking
one
over.
step forward.
Yes. Washington State Patrol is taking over the investigation from this point forward. Any questions you guys have beyond this today will come through our agency and through us. I'm going to give the details that we have. I might repeat a few that Commander Porter stated, but Issaquah PD did receive their first call with this at about 7:34 p.m. last night. It was a call from the homeowner, female, about a suspicious person in front and around their house. Issaquah PD arrived a short time later and did not find anybody in the area. They stayed on scene, attempted to, I believe, to call back the homeowner, wasn't able to make contact. At approximately 7:55 p.m. last night, the officers did attempt to make contact with the homeowner by knocking on the front door, and they did not receive a response. At about 8:02 p.m. last night, I believe the sister, the female that was involved in this incident, called and contacted Issaquah PD and let them know that they were being held hostage by a male suspect in the house with a gun. As he stated, as Commander Porter stated before, it was the female who was the sister, her boyfriend, and the 2 kids who were 5 and 8. The suspect in this case is a 28-year-old male. So at that time, there were 5 people in the house. Issaquah PD immediately did call for King County SWAT team to come out and assist them with this. They responded. Between 8:02, when this incident initially became a hostage barricade situation, for approximately 4 hours, a little bit over 4.5 hours, there was not much contact made with the suspect. At approximately 12:58 a.m. last night, King County SWAT team did breach the front door of this house and rescued the boyfriend and the 2 kids from inside of the house. At that point, it would just left the homeowner, the female, which was the sister of the suspect, and him inside of the house. There wasn't much contact. Negotiations continued. They tried to make contact with the suspect and with the people inside. It's my understanding at this point that not much contact was made. At about 4 a.m., Seattle Police Department SWAT team came and relieved King County SWAT team. They stayed for 6 hours on scene, attempted negotiations, attempted contact, until they were relieved at 10 a.m. by the Valley SWAT team. At approximately 10:25, The Valley SWAT team was able to rescue the female from inside the house and get her out, so that only left the male suspect inside of the house. Negotiations continued. At approximately 10:54 in the morning, the Valley SWAT team did start to deploy gas inside the house to attempt to create a line of communication with him and to resolve the situation. That did not work, and ultimately at about 12:50 p.m. was the first report of a fire on the residence, and that has led us up to where we're at now. So King County Fire and Rescue has responded. They're still working on putting the fire out. Our detectives and multiple detectives are here on scene attempting to take over the investigation, and really they're going to handle the investigation to figure out as much as they can about why it happened and what caused the fire, and all the details around that. So currently that is where we stand with the investigation.
Any update on the status of the suspect?
So right now we don't. It's our belief that he was in the house when the fire started. Right now the fire team, or fire and rescue team, has not been able to confirm that he's in there, but they're still actively working to investigate it, make sure the fire's out, and investigate it with the house. It did burn up pretty badly, so they have to make sure it's safe before they can go in and find everything inside.
And you had mentioned that the boyfriend and the boys got out. Did the mom get out at that time too?
No, she was still in the house for approximately, so it was about 12:58 a.m. last night when the two children and the boyfriend were rescued. It wasn't until 10:25 this morning that the female was rescued from the house, so about 10 hours that she was in there with her brother during that time.
Was she in a different position or place? Yeah.
Yeah, she was in a different place than the kids and the boyfriend at the time. The initial rescue happened, that's my understanding, so they were unable to get to her, so she was there for that 10 more hours until they were able to rescue her.
What preliminarily can you say about what started this? Why did he come over here in the first place?
We don't know. Right now, again, all that's under investigation. Our detectives are working hard to determine motive and cause and everything like that.
We know they're out of the house, but were they injured in any way? Obviously, emotionally it's probably difficult, but were the people injured in any way?
Physically, I don't know of any injuries at this time.
We spoke to a next door neighbor who said that law enforcement has been here before. Is this family known to?
I don't know anything about that at this time.
Did he fire his gun at any point?
I don't have confirmed shots fired at this point. There are reports that it might have been fired. We don't believe that it was fired at a SWAT team or any specific individual. We're investigating that right now, and that'll come out through the investigation.
Do you know anything about the suspect's background? Has law enforcement had connection with him before?
I don't at this time.
Are you releasing his name?
Next of kin hasn't been made. Obviously, we have to identify that the suspect was in there, confirm at this point whether or not he is deceased because of this fire. At that point, we'll make next of kin, and then it'll get released.
Is there anything the sister has been able to share with you guys that you can share with us?
Right now, she's really only spoken with detectives. I haven't had any insight into that conversation, and it is still part of that active investigation, so I don't know anything.
And is the house a total loss? Can you set the scene for us there?
Yeah, I would believe it is. It was a pretty traumatic fire. I don't know how to describe fires. It's not my lane so much, but it was a very extensive fire. I would imagine that the house is going to be a total loss, and what happens after that will go on. But like I said, some of the roofs I heard did collapse during the fire, which is also prolonging this search and rescue effort for the suspect inside. Safety for everybody now is our number one priority, so the fire team and fire department and their rescue team is taking every precaution that they can to make sure it's safe before they go in and search and rescue and things like that.
So they haven't been able to get inside yet.
Not fully, to my understanding.
But they are searching right now.
I haven't been down there for about an hour. Last I saw is there was still some smoke and things coming from the house, so some hot spots. So it's my understanding that they're just making sure it's safe before they go in and do that part of the investigation.
Did crews contain it to just that house, or did it spread at all?
I believe it's just that one house.
How long will they be out here?
Pardon me, what was that?
Can you explain the gas code? They released the gas in the house?
I do know that the Valley SWAT team did release gas into the house.
What kind of gas? Can you explain?
I don't know off the top. I don't know which type of gas. There's multiple different types of gas cans and canisters. That's well above for not really my area of expertise. I know that there was gas released into the house, and that was, we'll say, approximately 2 hours before the report of fire happened, or the first reports of the fire. So I know that was one of the tactics that they were using in this specific scenario. So
Did those trigger a fire?
I don't know. I don't know exactly which gas it was used, where it was let go, and things like that. So that's going to come out in the investigation with our detectives. You had a question?
Any idea the timeline with the fire department out here?
I don't. We'll say as long as it takes. You know, like I said, safety is that #1 priority. So I know it'll probably be a while as they continue to search and go through it. It'll be an active crime scene for the foreseeable future.
And can you just talk about how this family is doing? What an incredibly traumatic event.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to speak to them, see them, or make contact with them. I can only imagine the wide range of emotions and the fear that goes into something like this. I wouldn't even want to speculate just the sort of wide range of emotions that they're going through. I know it's unbelievably tragic that this happened, and so we're going to do our best to investigate everything we can for that family to get them as many answers as we can. We're going to support them as best as we can as law enforcement beyond this, and we're going to be there for them, but I know it's just going to be a long process. I mean, the kids were 5 and 8, and the family members were, sister and boyfriend, so it's just a traumatic event all around for the family members and everybody involved.
Did the suspect at any point live at this house with the sister, with
I can't
parents?
confirm that at this point. I don't know the details of that.
And lastly, just to state the obvious, the assumption is he set the place on fire, correct?
We don't know. Right now we're investigating everything, so I don't want to say something that we would have to backtrack on later. Our detectives and all the detectives here are going to be working tirelessly to get those answers. It just takes time.
I know you guys said you breached the house at one point to get the fiance and the children.
Correct.
Were there any other breach attempts on the home?
Not that I'm aware of. Again, I showed up at the very, very end of this, and so I haven't had a debrief or had a chance to speak with any of the SWAT commanders, and I probably won't. That'll come out in the investigation as far as the timeline of events.
But you guys swapped out SWAT teams and everything like that. You guys were prepared to try to get this guy to come out peacefully.
Right.
That
this
was
way,
the
yeah,
hope.
that's always the goal. And so I know negotiators and SWAT teams were here for, a total time, you can say 8:02 last night it became a hostage situation, and the fire wasn't reported until noon, so that's almost 16 hours of active attempted negotiations and everything like that from the SWAT teams.
Where were the kids before you called them out? Were in the house?
I don't know. Okay.
Was he holding the sister somewhere else? Is that why they were in separate areas?
I believe that the sister and the brother, or the hostage taker at this point, were in a different location in the house, which led the availability for that rescue to happen. So a credit to the SWAT teams for just doing their job, taking that extraordinary risk to rescue the people that they could have got done.
What is anything that get back to normal for the investigation?
I don't know. It's an active crime scene as long as it needs to be for us, because again, our top priority at this point is to identify and locate if there is somebody inside, and then get as many answers and do as complete and thorough investigation as we can. And with such a complex scene as this, it can take some time.
And why are you guys involved?
So Issaquah PD did ask us. We didn't have any involvement with the scene prior to when it ended, essentially, when the fire started. They asked us to come in and do this investigation for transparency reasons. So we gladly took over, and we're happy to help our teammates here. Yeah.
Any update we should expect tonight?
I wouldn't imagine so. We will tweet what we can if there is a notable update. I think maybe the only update that we would probably anticipate tonight, hopefully, would be confirmation of whether the suspect was inside of the residence or not. And so I can work with Trooper Johnson on his Twitter to get at least that part out. And if not, we'll touch base with Trooper Johnson, or I will touch base with Trooper Johnson tomorrow and set up, if there needs to be another press conference, or we'll just update through Twitter and our communication channels that we have. Yeah.
And if his body is found, do you anticipate releasing a name, or will you guys let the ME do that?
I would anticipate the ME. Generally, that's the process it goes through. It'll either come from State Patrol or yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Sorry to keep you guys waiting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
And just to clarify the language, so you did rescue the sister too, correct?
She was rescued. Yeah. Later.
So everyone.